there are a lot of people that do get in and just like post, and they don't really understand like strategies or like algorithms, and don't really push to do their research about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the plentiful maybe of people who go into it for that reason, thinking like, oh, it's like so easy money. Like I post on my Instagram, like who like now a company's paying me and I can just post on theirs. So I think the mentality from that standpoint has caused that like negative, or not negative, but that like buzzword effect.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Team Reinvented Gaming Podcast. I'm here with Valentina, Rezk, our marketing manager for Team Reinvented Gaming. What's up, Val?
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. Definitely appreciative. So we have a lot to talk about, and you're the first person that's like really different. Like your niche, your skill set is like different than everybody else's we had. So there's a lot of questions I have to ask you, and I think it'd be a good time. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So well, first and foremost, well, congratulations on your graduation. So for those who don't know, she graduated
Thank you.
from college last week. So congrats.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's start with the first question. So how did you get into social media marketing? Like, walk us through your journey per se, in as
Yeah.
simply as possible.
So, I would have to say, in general, with marketing, it's always been kind of like a dinner topic conversation in my family and in my house. That's the industry that my father is actually in. So, as I grew up, it was always kind of like something that interested me. And then as I got into college, I was like super passionate about putting all of my skill sets to work that I was learning, that I had previously learned in the past. And the easiest way at the time to do that was social media. There were a lot of businesses, small businesses, within the area of my university that I was able to like reach out and pitch myself to, saying, these are the strategies and people that I've worked with in the past, and this is my skill set. And I think we can take your social media presence to the next level. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of how it started for me, just pitching myself to small businesses. Um, and then obviously there's a lot of things that the university doesn't teach you. So just doing your own research. I did a lot of certifications, attended a lot of webinars, and I think that's like super important. So
Mm.
that's how I got started, and then here we are. So
Nice, nice. About what age do you think you started like pitching yourself to businesses? Like, were you like 14 doing that, or was it closer to like 18 or something like that?
well, I started pitching myself when I was around like 17 or 18.
Okay.
Previously, I had done a lot of like family friend stuff
Mm-hmm.
when I was like 14 or 15. And so I had some previous experience with that. And then by the time I was like getting into college, I felt comfortable enough to like pitch myself and
Okay.
kind of like have a bit of work experience so that I
Mm-hmm.
could back it up as well.
Okay, nice, nice. So, did your dad? Was he a marketing manager for a company, or did he have like his own firm that he did?
So he had both.
Oh wow.
He was a director, and then he had his own creative agency on the side. And so
Mm-hmm.
even like when I was, little, it would be like, hey, like come like sit down and watch these like Photoshop videos, and like Photoshop these little things for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always kind of like I had tasks to do, and I always loved it. So, and I think that's where like the passion trickled in
Yeah,
later on.
yeah. Especially in marketing, it's a very hands-on type of job. Like, you obviously went to school for marketing. I took some marketing classes myself, nothing to the extent of yours. But when we have meetings, you don't talk about like the formal definitions. Like you try to it's a lot different in person than it is while, going to school for it. But that's amazing. That explains why you're so good at your job, because you've been doing it for almost a decade. No, that's legit.
Yes.
And the college you went to, University of Tennessee, correct? Um,
Yes.
were they known for marketing? Was like that?
They are known for their like business school.
Okay.
And so I kind of, they were like within the list of colleges that I was really looking at. And then overall, when I just like went, I was like, that this is it. So
Yeah. Okay. Dope.
yeah.
Dope. Nice. So in today's state, right? It's 2021. Entrepreneurship is a big deal. You got NFTs. You have passive income. You hear all the time. Like that's the whole shebang, right? Do you
Mhm.
think there are too many social media managers or not enough in today's times? Actually, I may
Oh,
have. I'm sorry. Continue.
no, you're good. I was about to say it's a good question. Um, hmm. I would definitely have to say that I think that there will never be too much. I think, in my opinion, I think everyone brings a different skill set to the table, and I think if anyone's like thinking about starting and may get overwhelmed, because I know that there are a lot of people within the industry, a lot of like young um, entrepreneurs per se, trying to
Mm-hmm.
like build these like agencies and like social media management um, corporations and stuff. I definitely don't want to like them to be discouraged. There's a lot of people, but I think specifically the way that you present yourself, your experience, and how you come onto the table with a potential client is, something very unique. And so I would have to say that there's never enough, but definitely make sure that you are being true to yourself and like you're willing to like stand out. I think that's the best way to kind of make it in that sense, quote unquote.
Yes. Um. No, I agree with you. You hit the nail on the head. But you mentioned standing out as your last part, and that's a key thing when it comes to marketing nowadays. Um, the reason, so I think social media manager, that term is thrown around. It's too generic nowadays. It's a buzzword. That's what it is nowadays. And the way I vet people, the way I vetted you, Val, was you need to show me if I am talking to somebody and they are a social media manager, right? That's the title they give themselves, and they're gonna work with me or I'm going to work with them in some capacity. I don't care if you can just post stuff on Instagram or Twitter for me, you know? I want to know, can you think conceptually, and do you understand your market? Like, I'm not gonna throw out all these key terms, definitions, but we talk about market segmentation, target segmentation, all
Yeah.
that stuff, right? Do you like you don't have to have a formal degree in it, but do you understand those principles? Because certain market principles you have to
Mm-hmm.
understand. And I'm not gonna try to shit on people who do social media managing who post content. No, that's what needed, and that is delegation at its finest. But you need
Mm-hmm.
to have the conceptual thinking, and that's why I think there's a difference between a social media manager and a marketing manager. Like, wow, I consider when I tell people about you, I call you my marketing manager. I don't call you my social media manager because you can do marketing in its entirety, not just social media, which is amazing, which is great, which is what companies actually want. Um, and I think I asked you this probably like a couple weeks ago when I was like, "What do you envision your future team being?" You mentioned a social media manager for each platform, right? There's a
Yes.
difference why you need a social media manager for each platform, but you need a marketing manager to supervise them, right? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
difference. Um, but yeah, I totally agree with you. Like there's never going to be enough because everybody can benefit from a social media manager in some capacity. But that distinction between somebody who just uploads content and regurgitates the same stuff versus somebody who can innovate and think conceptually and come up with new ideas. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what you
And
think about
I
that.
and yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think the buzzword around it, it kind of, I don't even want to say it has like a negative connotation, but it's just like it has one of those like, oh, it's like super easy. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people pitch it and it's like, oh, you can do it. Like you just need your phone. Like you can work remotely. Like all this stuff. And like like you mentioned, there are a lot of people that do get in and just like post and they don't really understand like strategies or like algorithms and don't really push to do their research about it.
Mhm.
And I think that and I think the plentiful maybe of people who go into it for that reason thinking like, oh, it's like so easy money. Like I post on my Instagram, like who like now a company's paying me and I can just post on theirs. So I think the mentality um, from that standpoint has caused that like negative or not negative, but that like buzzword effect where now like if I present myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I manage, social media platforms and I do a lot of email marketing or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be. And then automatically people think like, oh, she's a social media manager. And you're like, oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
not a bad thing. Just like, you want to make sure that you can have like you said, have a conversation and being able to identify that strategy, that conceptual thinking, the
Mm,
analytical standpoint, right? Because if you just like sit there and post, I mean, you can definitely see like analytical wise, and within the analytics, something's not adding up. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see how the next 4 years go. There's a lot of we talked about NFTs a little bit. I don't want to dive too deep down rabbit hole because I don't have much knowledge on it, so I couldn't even speak on it intelligently. I don't know if you want to speak on any of that, but we'll see how the next 4 years goes, just in the marketing space and in the business space, um, to see just how that changes and how if a new platform. Do you think a new platform is gonna come out? Like we have Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok is the newest one. Is there any platform that you see that's going to be on the rise, or something that we should watch out for in the near future?
Um, Currently, I think the only one that kind of, well, it's not even caught my eye. It's a concept, and I've seen it done multiple times, and they've like kind of marketed it in different platforms.
Mm,
But it's the concept of, because Instagram has become now like a highlight reel, right? Everyone's posting like pictures that are super nice and well edited,
yeah.
and you have the influencers that are in the space. So Instagram has become like a very like monetized, populated uh, platform per
Mm,
se, and so people really have been leaning towards TikTok, not only because video content is like super big, but also because of the mundane aspect of like just like raw footage, like, 15 seconds, like you can just like have like, that interaction face to face, just like how your TikToks have been doing really, really well because people just love that interaction, that like one on
mm,
one. Not anything being staged, nothing being like, oh, like this is for clout or anything. And they've been going around the idea of having an app or a new social platform that combines those aspects together. So having like photos and videos, but having it be a platform where it's not about the looks or the highlight reel or like the editing or anything like that, but just like photos that you could share with like friends and
mm,
having like subgroups and stuff like that. So I think it's a very like new concept. I know, for example, Dispo. Dispo is a platform that currently promotes that. It was, I think, founded by David Dobrik and like some other creators. But the concept in itself is you take pictures and you kind of have like your own um, album and you like share the album with friends. So like a group of 10 people can like snap pictures and like they all feed into this album and
mm.
like you share together.
Okay.
So I think something like that maybe. Besides that, I know the Clubhouse was like super popular. I don't know if you heard about that
No,
one.
I
Did
haven't.
you?
No.
It's it's like a social media platform, but like all audio. So like you go into these chats and you'll have people um, talking about ventures,
Mm-hmm.
venture capitalist groups, you have marketing groups, you have esports groups, and you'll have like super famous public figures go into these apps and like
Interesting.
talk for free. Now, the only catch is that you do have to be personally invited to the Clubhouse app. Um,
By
and
somebody.
so,
Okay.
mhm. So like whenever you sign up, you get 10 free invites. And so you share that like with your group of close individuals, and then from there it kind of like branches out. So it was really like hard in the beginning. I know a bunch of people that have now gotten on it. I'm on it. But it's really cool because you can sit in and hear like companies pitch themselves in like a mini Shark Tank
Mm-hmm.
with ideas
Oh wow.
and like just gain a bunch of knowledge. So
Interesting.
yeah, that was
Interesting.
pretty cool. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
definitely recommend check it out, and it's really cool.
Dope. Dope. So let's talk about, okay, so in the future you want to have your own company, right? Your own
Yeah.
marketing agency and everything like that. So let's talk about that for a little. So do you have a name for it? Like a name, if you don't want to tell to the world, that's fine, but do you have a name that you think you're gonna go with?
Yeah, so it's actually Exact Pixel. It's the name that I have
Mm.
my, yeah, my Fiverr under. Um, I think I just kind of came up with it one day, like brainstorming in terms of like the digital aspect and then like pixels, like because marketing and like you do have to like that is like the most basic unit
Yeah.
for marketing. It's a pixel.
Mm.
And so within that pixel, you can create different things and photos or whatever, logos. So um yeah, I just kind of thought that was like I was like, oh, I love that. I love the sound of that. No
Exactly.
one had it yet on like socials, so I grabbed all the handles and stuff, and so I was like, I think this is gonna be it. So as of right now, it is exact pixel.
Exact pixel.
Um, yes, I like to focus also on like precision and like making sure my work is like detail oriented and
Mm.
stuff. So I think it kind of like blends in to the message that I'm trying to portray as well.
Nice, nice. Well, hopefully nobody watching this steals that name. So go get a
Yeah,
trademark immediately after the show.
literally.
No, that's legit though. That's dope. No, yeah. I'm obviously familiar with building a business, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah. My piece of advice is just start sooner rather than later. You don't have to be perfect, but just make as much headway as you can at it every day. Like perfection,
Yeah.
yeah. If you try to start a business trying to be perfect at everything, it's gonna you're not going to. Um,
Yeah. So what type of advice would I say? Like, would you give, even people watching? Like, what would be like your three key things
wow,
to
I'm on
put
the
you on the
spot.
spot?
Wow. I guess I'm not the podcast host anymore. No, I'm joking. Um, three advice for people about building a business.
Yeah, like if you
Oh,
can
okay.
like tell yourself these three things
Okay, number one.
back in the day.
Okay, for now and back in the day, I guess for right now too, a little bit. Number
Mm-hmm.
one thing is care about your employees. If you're the business owner, I'm not saying this because you're with me, Val. I
No.
care about your employees. They are people too, and if without them, there is no business. So care about your employees. Make sure they're taken care of before yourself. That means pay them before you can even pay yourself. That means make sure they're good before you're taken care of. That's my number one thing, and I will live by that. Second thing is have don't be afraid to take risks. Such have confidence. Believe I guess believe in yourself. That's like all one thing. Believing in yourself is the proper way to put that. Um, you never. I think anything is what is possible, and it's only a matter of how hard you want to work for it. So believe in yourself. If you can see it, you can achieve it. And the third thing is what's the third thing? I do not know. I have some stuff, but I feel like I don't. I'm gonna have to catch you with like after the show with this or something because I know it's gonna come to me like it always does, Val. Like 30 minutes after we talk.
Yeah,
So
yes. Find it in the comments
yeah,
down
find it in
below,
the comments the
everyone.
third thing. But those two for sure: believing in yourself and caring about your employees. Um, and yeah, just giving people the creative freedom. Like especially with something like your job when it comes to marketing, I have to give you the creative freedom to do your job because your job is about creativity. Like an accountant, he has rules to follow, but like a
Yeah.
marketer, creative freedom. Um, try to
Hmm.
express my intent. Tell you guys what I want the end goal to be, and allow you guys to come up with any way possible to get to the end goal, as long as it's legal and it's within the standards that we set for the company, right? But come up with any way possible to achieve that end goal, and I think that's been working so far. And I obviously talk to you guys all the time, my staff members, and I'm open to feedback. If you guys think something's not working or if I'm not doing something right, you guys will tell me in a heartbeat. I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's a
definitely
different thing.
think you mentioned like such an important thing because in marketing, like it is very important, like creativity. And I think a lot of people in going in and like even peers of mine, mentors that I've talked to always talk about negative experiences with companies or superiors that kind of like strain on creativity and how that's like such a like fundamental aspect for the marketing aspect
Mm-hmm.
of any business. So I mean, I definitely think, and this is not even because I'm on the show, but like you
Yeah.
do a great job
Thank
at
you.
that. Like you do a great job at like communicating and being like, this is what I want, and I'll let you, like show me how we're gonna get there, and I'll give you some input, and we can go back and forth and like rearrange some
Mm-hmm.
stuff if it doesn't fit correctly. But I mean, yeah, it's been great, and I love that we can hop on our weekly calls and just kind of have those like brainstorming sessions because they're so important,
Yeah.
especially for how we want to be perceived as a company.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So, um, do you have anything else in the business you want to talk about? I mean, actually, no. We'll go off that topic. I don't want you to unveil your company secrets to the world.
Well,
You
no,
got
I
keep
mean,
some
we can
confidentiality.
general like overview. I would love to expand it and have at the moment, I think the route that I would like to go is starting off with an assistant and then growing and then probably having like three different associates. Obviously, it all depends and like with how things go and the amount of clients. But I think, yeah, definitely long term, I want to be able to have a large agency.
Hmm.
And so I think that is definitely going to be like needing a lot of hard work, and I'm super excited. It's like put in the work and
Yeah.
meet people who are going to be passionate on my team and just being able to um work towards something and like being potentially I love creating and I know you do it as well within Team Reinvented Gaming, but just like a family sense where it's like we're all working towards something,
Hmm.
and how even though we're all like working towards this, which it might be like your dream, it's like everyone else's dreams are like and goals and
Exactly.
aspirations are attached to it as well. Um, so I'm super excited. I do work behind the scenes. Obviously, now that I'm graduated, I definitely have more time.
Hmm.
Just had to make sure I had to get that degree first.
Yeah.
But now all the time that I was spending on that, I can like put in into the business. And I know I'll definitely be calling you for a lot of the legal aspects of it because they
Yeah.
definitely don't teach you much about that in
Yeah.
general.
I have broken the law a lot. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't really teach that really. Like even I'm going through business. Like I'm going through a business track now, and yeah, not a lot of legal stuff was really touched on, and I'm like that's kind of shocking because that's kind of important. Like I
Yeah.
ran into some troubles. Like this stuff I didn't know. I legally need. There was stuff I didn't. Oh my god, words. There was stuff I didn't know I need until I talked to an attorney on the phone, and they're like, yeah, you need to have this because to be like lawful. I was like, oh, thanks. Somebody told me. Yeah,
Yeah.
so a
I,
lot of business development is finding it out on the spot and making it happen, which is fine because you that's the job of being a CEO, fixing problems.
yeah.
But
Yeah. But
yeah, it's interesting.
definitely it's like if you don't catch it on time, right? It's
Hmm.
like what is going on? So not saying that, like university is like, should be required, but I do think like, hey, like even if this is the route that you want to go, like these are a bunch of different things. So I think, and especially I feel like on the entrepreneurship classes that I had taken in the past, it's always been like the ideation. I don't know if you've taken some too, but it's always been like more of the, oh, like what would you want your business to be about and like all this stuff, but they don't really like put you in the spot to like, okay, this is your idea. We're gonna like put you in a simulation
Well,
and you're gonna like make this come to life, which I feel like that's like amazing
mhm.
experience, and I feel like they should be doing that.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I agree with that, right? So going through the courses and the classes I went through, right? While also building a legitimate business in real life. I was like, this is not taught the way it needs to be because it's different. It's like if there's a business class, right, in any school, they have to assume that people attending those classes are going to be business owners or people who are going to work in the business at a high level, like a marketer, a accountant, a supervisor, right? So
Yeah.
I think if I was to run a school, what I would do, if I was a teacher, let's say I'm gonna say accountant, an accounting teacher, right? I was teaching accounting. What I would do is I would split my class up by into groups based on what they want to be. Like, hey, business people come here, accountants over here, and other people who are just gonna work at the company come here. And I would have to kind of teach differently to each type of person or each type of group because you have to. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I go into a class versus when you go into, if you go, me and you go to the same class, we are trying to listen for different things, right? The information I need is different than the information you need. So like
Mm-hmm.
these business classes have to start realizing that, like, hey, we have to start teaching to the type of professionals that they want to be. Um, And when
Yeah.
they try to teach stuff over PowerPoint and just blanket the topics, it doesn't help anybody because that's not the practicality of it. It's not there. So
And
like
you're just like regurgitating information like we had mentioned earlier.
yeah, and you kind of went through the same thing I did when you were going to school. You were also working as a marketing manager, right? So like you kind of understand like you when you go into these classes, you're asking these questions like, okay, how can I use this today? Like, because I need to.
Hmm.
And when they don't give you
Yeah.
that connection, it's like, what the heck? Like, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. And I think the only class that even gave me like remote like experience was like my capstone, which if anyone watching you familiar, capstone
mhm.
usually universities will have them as like your senior like top level class. It's like if you don't like this is the class that defines if you learned anything within your entire 4 years. So
Yeah.
there's already enough pressure. And so my class was a simulation. And so they grabbed you by major. And
Hmm.
so they were like, each team is going to have a supply chain, finance, marketing, HR,
Oh wow.
and I think it was like management
Hmm.
for like employees, sales.
Hmm.
And so, depending on your major, you would go into these teams, and then each
Would
person
be
with
like
their
the,
expertise,
that's
yes,
I like
would
that.
handle, yeah, their own like division of the company. And so, when in your teams, there's like 20 teams, and you guys are all put into like a marketplace simulation where
Hmm.
you sell the same product, the same thing, and you as a company within your team have to create a strategy, and you all have to work together as team members to make your company succeed out of everyone else.
Hmm.
And so, for example, there I was like, why? Like, I would have loved to see this, maybe freshman year is too early, but
Yeah.
like sophomore year when you're deciding your major, like junior, when
Hmm.
you're like getting into like your classes, I think that's like such valuable information. Like, if I would have had that in the beginning, I can only imagine how I would have looked at certain courses or even like
Exactly.
within my job as a marketing manager differently and how I could use that and have that connection that we were talking about that sometimes is missing when you just have like lectures with like PowerPoints and there's not
Exactly.
really much action. So,
No, yeah, exactly. I agree. And for those watching, we're not saying school is bad. We're not. We love our
no,
schools, but we're just
we
saying
love.
we we just wish that in the current state of society that it was taught differently due to the
Hmm.
stature of the business world. Um,
Yeah,
that brings me to I have my third thing, Val. By the way, my third
awesome.
thing would probably be become an academic in your craft. I'm not saying you need to get a PhD, but going to school it's an advantage, whether you hate homework like I do and stuff like that. It is an advantage because it puts you in front of people and around resources that you can bounce ideas off. When I was going, I did. This is gonna sound probably like not bad, but when I was in my when I was going to school, when they would bring examples, like my marketing class, for example, right? When my marketing professor, who's literally a marketer, has a master's degree in marketing, right? She would like, can you guys provide examples? I showed her our YouTube channel, and I showed her the videos on there. We literally saw the Voted Pro League in class. I was cringing the whole entire time, but I did that from a marketing perspective to get the business out there. I get to show 30 people for free Team
Hmm.
Reinvented Gaming, but also I had a legitimate person, a professor who can audit me on the spot if it's something like
Yeah,
that. She's not gonna roast me, right? I hope she doesn't roast me in front of the whole
yeah,
class, but stuff like that, be able to literally put tangible ideas in front of these people. My business professor,
yeah,
who's really good, talk about things and like get her perspective on it. That's what school is about. The resources and
yeah.
just bouncing ideas off like-minded people. So
Yes,
that's my
and like
third
the
thing.
network. Hmm.
Yeah, and the
Yeah, I
network.
definitely agree.
So
Yeah.
man, so
But yeah, we love school. I don't want it to feel like we're just like bashing.
yeah,
Universities and colleges are great. And they give you, like you said, a lot of opportunity and doors for networking. And I've met a lot of my mentors, previous professors, or even like I've just like asked them about how to go certain things and projects, and it's great. It's great for that aspect. And at the end of the day, if you cultivate those relationships, that can lead to, you know, a world of possibilities. So,
exactly. So almost ending our time here shortly. We have about like 5 more minutes. So I'm gonna hit you with the last question. How do you want to reinvent your industry?
oh my
It's a
gosh,
big question, I know.
I was about to say the pressure. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
you could boil it down to like, what's the impact you want to have on it, like how do you want to be remembered in the industry type of thing, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, not a loaded question at all. I think my biggest thing and the impact that I want to leave on this industry is this is going to sound like I feel like so cliche, but I think we've gotten to a point in society where everything is so we touched on it a bit earlier, but staged and just
Mm-hmm.
very, I don't want to use the word fake, but very staged and stuff like that. And so in my industry and marketing, I think that there is a beauty and there is so much I'm trying to find a word, like there's so much strength in companies and in marketing directors and vice presidents, presidents that kind of unveil that through different campaigns. There's been a
Mm-hmm.
lot of campaigns recently that have been um, touching on subjects that you wouldn't have seen 20 or 30 years ago, whether that's, weight, race, religion,
Mm-hmm.
um, sexual orientation, and all of those things. And I think moving forward and what I want to do is continue to unify consumers in that sense instead of dividing and putting people into categories.
Mm-hmm.
I think given that everyone has such an amazing background and we all come from different walks of life, it's so important to understand and really appreciate the differences that we all bring, whether you're a consumer, whether you're an employee, whether you're a CEO, because at the end of the day, these are the things that bring us together. And they're the ones that really push companies to really value who they are targeting and add that like human aspect. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I feel like I'm going in a circle. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like have companies not talk about their target segment or target consumer and actually be like, like this person or this type of person and have it be an industry where we can all like come together. Because I think there's been a lot of separation with societal standards and
Mm-hmm.
stuff in the past. So I think on my very long-winded answer, I think that is what I would do.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing.
If that made sense.
Yeah, I followed. So
Yeah, we got a
yeah,
little lost
I'll watch it
there, but
back
we
10 times, so it's okay. No, that's great though. That's amazing. Um, what can people find you if they want to learn more about you? You know,
yeah, so down below, Dorian can leave my Fiverr link
yeah, it'll be down there.
for any, yeah, everything down below right here. For my Fiverr link on gigs, if you want to connect with me in general, Valentina Rezk on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and then valentinaresk@gmail.com for any business inquiries in general. So.
Yeah. Great, great.
Or even if you just want to chat marketing, this doesn't even have to be like a business thing. I love talking about a bunch of different things, or even if you have advice you're seeking or help, whether you want to get into the industry or just like have any questions from someone that's been in it for a little, and I'm willing to share and not charge and just have a nice conversation with someone.
For sure, for sure. Don't steal her from me, guys. That would suck.
So.
Please do not buy her out. But no,
We have a lot of good projects coming soon,
we do,
so
we
I'm
do.
excited.
So, well, Val, thank you for being on the show. We had a lot of good stuff, and I think we had some great conversations about marketing that I was holding in the whole entire time. So, no, that was great. So, thank you again for being on the show. Um,
Thank you so much for having me.
no problem, no problem. Well, guys, that's it. Once again, thank you to Val for being on here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Bye, everyone.